When we hear the word strength, most of us imagine something concrete: muscles, power, money, social status. In society, this kind of strength is often admired. People see it, measure others' value by it, and learn to desire it. But Carl Gustav Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the last century, teaches us that there is a much deeper and more fundamental kind of strength: spiritual strength. Spiritual strength is not outwardly visible. We won't find it in a bank account, a car, or in how many people respect us. It is a force that lives within us, quietly and subtly, yet it is unbreakable. It is the ability to face ourselves, to accept our weaknesses and talents, our light and darkness, our mistakes and achievements, and to live a life that is authentic and true to our inner self. Jung believed that this strength forms the foundation of true resilience. It doesn't mean that life's hardships, losses, or pain will bypass us. It means that we are able to experience these situations without losing ourselves in emotions, denying who we are, or being controlled by circumstances. Spiritual strength shows itself in the courage to look deep into one's soul, to accept its complexity, and to act according to one's values, even when the world around us seems chaotic. And that is why today we will focus on 7 signs that indicate whether you are or are becoming a spiritually strong person. You might be surprised at how many of these signs you already carry within yourself, without fully realizing it. First sign: acceptance of your shadow. Shadow work. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, a term for the part of our personality that we often don't want to admit. These are our weaknesses, suppressed emotions, unconscious reactions, and sometimes even desires that we are ashamed of or that might be considered unacceptable. Most people fear their shadows, trying to suppress, ignore, or hide them. They believe that if they do not see them, these parts will cease to exist. But the reality is exactly the opposite. What we suppress does not go away. On the contrary, these parts unconsciously control us and can create unexpected problems in our behavior, relationships, or even decision-making. A spiritually strong person does not fear the shadow. They learn to recognize it, name it, and accept it. Accepting the shadow does not mean allowing ourselves to be guided by destructive tendencies or justifying them. It means acknowledging that these parts exist, understanding their origin, and integrating them into our lives in a way that strengthens us rather than weakens us. Imagine a person who becomes aware of their tendency toward envy. Instead of denying it and letting it subtly control their actions, they learn to recognize and transform it, perhaps into motivation for personal growth, inspiration for others, or empathy toward those who are successful. The contrast is clear. A weak person suppresses their shadows. These suppressed parts then manifest in unconscious reactions: anger, anxiety, inexplicable frustration, or destructive patterns in relationships. In contrast, a spiritually strong person learns to be mindful, to face the dark aspects of their soul, and to integrate them into their life. And this ability is the foundation of true inner strength. Only then are we whole and free, because we are no longer slaves to what we fear or deny. Second sign: authenticity and honesty with yourself. Authenticity is not just a trendy word or a theoretical concept. It is a cornerstone of spiritual strength. Most people learn to play various roles, to be a good employee, a perfect partner, or a successful friend. These masks often serve as protection against criticism, rejection, or vulnerability. But every mask we wear for too long distances us from our true self. Jung warned, "He who wears a mask too long forgets who is beneath it." A spiritually strong person is not afraid to remove the mask. They can be truthful with themselves even when it is uncomfortable, when others disagree, or even criticize them. Authenticity involves an honest look at one's emotions, weaknesses, and strengths, and the courage to act according to what we perceive as right. Imagine a young man at work who feels that the project he is involved in is ethically wrong. Instead of merely nodding along and playing the obedient colleague, he chooses to openly share his opinion. This may be uncomfortable, risky, and may not gain approval from everyone. But by remaining true to his inner conviction, he preserves his integrity and strengthens his inner power. Authenticity also manifests in everyday small decisions, in moments when we choose whether to act according to others' expectations or follow our inner voice. A spiritually strong person understands that a truthful life is not always comfortable, but it is the only life that leads to genuine fulfillment and inner freedom. Third sign, the ability to bear pain and crisis. Life brings pain, loss, unexpected turns, and crises, and none of us will escape them. Jung considered pain an inseparable part of the process of individuation, the journey through which a person becomes a whole and authentic individual. Spiritually strong people do not perceive these moments as an end or failure. They see them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The ability to bear pain means not only enduring a difficult situation, but also accepting its reality, exploring what it teaches us, and finding meaning within it. For example, a person who experiences the sudden loss of a loved one may initially feel despair and sadness. However, a spiritually strong person does not deny this experience or try to escape it. Instead, they seek to learn from it, about themselves, relationships, and the impermanence of life. This ability means transforming suffering into deeper understanding. Pain becomes a teacher that teaches us compassion, empathy, patience, and resilience. One learns that crises are not punishment, but part of the journey toward personal growth. For instance, someone who loses their job, instead of falling into resignation, uses the experience to reconsider priorities, discover new opportunities, and strengthen skills. Such trials often reveal how strong and resilient we truly are. Spiritual strength shows itself here, in the ability to remain steadfast, not lose hope, and learn even from difficult experiences. Fourth sign, independence from external opinions. One of the most striking signs of a spiritually strong person is independence from external opinions. Most people learn to react to the world around them. They want to be accepted, praised, and avoid disappointing others. These external expectations often shape our decisions, beliefs, and behavior. A spiritually strong person, however, does not allow themselves to be defined by what others think. Jung often mentioned the archetype of the hero, a figure who follows their own path even when misunderstood or rejected by society. The hero does not look at whether their path is popular or convenient, because they know that true strength lies in loyalty to one's own self. A spiritually strong person stands firm in their own truth and does not bend it under the pressure of others. For example, imagine a young woman who envisions creating a community project to help seniors. People around her say it's risky, that she will fail, or that she should do something safer. The spiritually strong woman, however, listens to her inner voice and decides to move forward. She acts not out of fear, but from the awareness that her path has meaning and aligns with her values. A weak person, on the other hand, constantly adapts to external opinions, influenced by criticism, trends, the views of authorities, friends, or society. Such a person will never find true inner balance because they are living a life that is not their own. Spiritual strength lies precisely in the courage to be oneself. It means learning to stand firm when others do not understand our decisions and remaining true to our values, even when it is uncomfortable. Such a person does not become a slave to outside opinions, but an inspiration for others seeking their own path. Fifth sign, the ability to create and bring meaning. Another sign of a spiritually strong person is the ability to create and bring meaning. Jung said, "Thinking about meaning is the highest form of human strength." By this, he meant that a human being is not merely a passive participant in life, waiting for things to happen, but an active creator of their world and the purpose of their existence. Spiritually strong people see life as a journey they can actively co-create, and their actions are not random. They are intentional, guided by inner values and goals. This ability is closely connected with the archetype of the creator, a symbolic figure who uses their energy, experience, and skills to shape reality. Meaning does not always have to be grandiose. It can be found in everyday acts of kindness, in work that helps others, or in creating art that inspires and connects people. Every action that holds value for ourselves and others is an expression of spiritual strength. Spiritually strong people do not perceive life as a random series of events, but as a space in which they can act consciously. For example, someone who loses their job may see only a problem and frustration, or they may use this crisis to find a new path that better aligns with their values and talents. Instead of passively accepting circumstances, they learn to transform experiences into something meaningful, impacting not only their own life, but also the lives of others. In contrast, a person without spiritual strength often experiences life as random, chaotic, and meaningless. They do not see the possibility to co-create their destiny and let circumstances carry them along. A spiritually strong person understands that even small, deliberate steps matter, and that their choices can bring deep value. In this way, they become not only the creator of their own life, but also an inspiration and support for others, seeking meaning and strength in their own lives. Sixth sign: compassion and the ability to perceive others. Spiritual strength is not only about resilience, toughness, or the ability to face life's challenges. True strength also involves kindness and compassion. Jung emphasized the importance of integrating the anima and animus, the connection of the feminine and masculine principles within each person. Part of this integration is the ability to feel, perceive, and understand others without losing connection with oneself. A spiritually strong person is not indifferent to the suffering of others. They can observe the pain, joy, and struggles of other people and respond with sensitivity, while remaining firm in their inner strength. They do not succumb to compassion fatigue, nor dissolve themselves in others' problems, but find a balance between empathy and their own resilience. For example, someone working with people in difficult life situations, such as in social work or crisis counseling, can learn to be deeply compassionate, listen, support, and help, without losing their own psychological stability. Spiritual strength manifests here in the ability to maintain integrity while being attentive, enabling one to be truly helpful, rather than merely emotionally reactive. Such a person understands that compassion is not weakness. On the contrary, it allows them to connect their inner growth with a positive impact on the world around them, contributing to broader balance and harmony in society. Spiritual strength and kindness complement each other. Without compassion, strength would be empty. Without strength, compassion could lead to exhaustion or manipulation. Seventh sign: the courage to face the unknown and transcendence. The final seventh sign of a spiritually strong person is the courage to look beyond the known, to cross ordinary boundaries, and to touch the mystery of life. Jung stated, "He who is not afraid to go into the unknown can find the true self." A spiritually strong person does not fear confronting uncertainty, unfamiliar situations, or questions that have no simple answers. Courage for transcendence means stepping out of the small ego, ordinary thinking, and comfortable certainties, and opening oneself to deeper knowledge of oneself and the world. This is not easy. It requires trust, patience, and the willingness to face fear. But within this courage lies a profound source of inner strength. For example, a person who decides to explore their spiritual or psychological limits through introspection, meditation, the study of philosophy, or psychotherapy may encounter unknown and sometimes uncomfortable aspects of their personality. A spiritually strong individual, however, is not afraid to dive into these depths because they know that only in doing so can they discover the true self, integrity, and authentic wisdom. The courage to transcend also shows in the ability to face life changes, accept new perspectives, learn from the unknown, and allow oneself to be transformed by experiences. This sign demonstrates that spiritual strength is not only stability and firmness, but also the ability to grow, expand, and transcend the limits of one's own perception. A spiritually strong person thus lives not only in the reality of everyday life, but also in a space of possibilities, learning to seek deeper meaning and connection with something greater than their own ego. The courage to face the unknown and to transcend is the final step toward complete inner strength, combining courage, wisdom, and compassion. Today, we have explored the 7 signs of a spiritually strong person according to Carl Jung. Acceptance of your shadow, the ability to face your dark aspects, suppressed emotions, and learn to transform them. Authenticity and honesty with yourself, the courage to be truthful with yourself, even when it is uncomfortable. The ability to bear pain and crisis, seeing suffering and life's challenges as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Independence from external opinions, standing firm in your own truth and not being defined by others. The ability to create and bring meaning, actively co-creating your life and finding meaning in your actions. Compassion and the ability to perceive others, being sensitive to the suffering of others without losing yourself. The courage to face the unknown and transcendence, looking beyond the known and seeking deeper connection with your true self. Each of these signs represents a part of the inner strength that we can cultivate. Spiritual strength is not something we are born with or that appears overnight. It is a journey on which we learn to face ourselves, grow, and be authentic. Now it's time for a little self-reflection. How many of these signs do you see in your own life? And which one would you like to work on? Some may come naturally, while others require time and effort. But every step toward spiritual strength is a step toward deeper authenticity and a fulfilled life. If this idea resonated with you and you want to deepen your journey toward inner strength, give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is seeking inspiration and motivation. With this small gesture, we can spread the awareness that true strength lies within us, and that each of us has the opportunity to discover it.